On the whole, you'll find Canada and the UK are very similar. There are obvious differences, like barbers. I mean, look what it's done to me since I've been here. But it's the little differences that I find amusing. Recently, we were at a little get-together, and we started talking about some of the differences between the UK and Canada. So today I'm going to share the top five, well, the five most recent differences that have come up between the UK and Canada. So the most obvious but not so little difference is size. And this one always gets people. They have no idea how big Canada is. It's the second biggest country in the world. The distance from Manchester, where I am now, to St. John's, Newfoundland, the most easterly part of Canada and North America, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, is about the same as the distance from St. John's to Flin Flon, Manitoba, only about halfway across the country. To fly from St. John's, Newfoundland to Victoria, British Columbia, coast to coast as we say, is like taking a flight from Manchester to Kuwait City. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador is over 1.5 times the size of the United Kingdom. But I might add, only about 500,000 people live there. So the next one is a little confusing, something only climate change deniers and flat earthers can understand. But I can't explain their reasons for it, so I'm going to use something a little more scientific. So bear with me. Everybody here thinks of Canada as the snowy north, and they're right. But here's one that might blow your mind. Roughly half of Canadians live below this red line, and most of us live south of the British Isles. Now, most Canadians think that Newfoundlanders live in the snowy north, and they're right. This place I showed you before is one of the snowiest places in North America. But St. John's is at latitude 47.57 degrees north. London is at 51.51 degrees north. Latitude is how far north or south you are. The numbers get bigger the farther north you go. The entire British Isles are north of St. John's. St. John's is about the same latitude as Paris. It takes some getting used to the daylight in this place. It gets so dark in the winter. I remember being amazed walking home from school with the children the first winter we were here. It was dark before we got home. I was talking to my sister about it. It was one of those warm winter days here, probably 12 or 14 degrees. She was working in Labrador City at the time. It was minus 28. She said, "Yes, but you're so much farther south." I had to look it up. Lab City, 52.94. Manchester, 53.47. Manchester is north of Labrador City. Okay, we have an interactive map of the world here. This is the island of Newfoundland. And of course, this is the UK over here. And this is around where St. John's, Newfoundland is. And around here is Labrador City. So let's slide the two continents together. And look at that. St. John's is well south of the British Isles, and Manchester is actually north of Labrador City. That's where what you would call Eskimos live. On that note, no one in Canada uses that word. It's 100% the same as the N word. They call themselves Inuit, and that's what we should call them too. By the way, the reason for the differences in climate is the Labrador Current. It deflects the warm Gulf Stream current to the United Kingdom. But that's another video. So, from a very big difference to a very little difference. And I promise this one's going to be a little easier to digest. I like to call Canada the bastard child of England and America. We share a lot of things with both countries. Now, you'll find websites that will tell you that prawn and shrimp are different critters, but they're not. The terms shrimp and prawn are common names, not scientific names. They are vernacular or colloquial terms, which lack the formal definition of scientific terms. So to use a few movie references, an Australian would never put a shrimp on the Barbie because they too call them prawn. And Bubba Gump shrimp would have been called Bubba Gump prawn in Devon. If I gave you a plate of shrimp, you'd call it prawn. And if you gave an American or a Canadian a plate of prawn, he'd call them shrimp. And size doesn't matter. You get large prawn and little prawn, small shrimp and jumbo shrimp. Like I said, we're the bastard children. In America, this is a hood. In Canada, it's a bonnet. In America, this is a trunk. And in Canada, it's a trunk. So now we've finished our prawn. Perhaps we'll have some pudding. Now, if you brought me this, I wouldn't be the least bit disappointed, but I might be a little confused. You see, this is pudding. I guess you might call it custard here. You mean you all have never heard of Jell-O pudding pops? In Canada, we don't call it pudding, we call it dessert. Now again, there's that ever-confusing bit of being a Newfoundlander. We are outliers both geographically and figuratively. We do have savory puddings as well. You know, your blood pudding, your peas pudding, and there's Christmas pudding too. You could have pudding for dessert, but pudding and dessert are not synonymous. I suppose you could have these for dessert, pudding, but if you did, you'd be having a cookie. Biscuits are really confusing. I guess a biscuit to a Canadian would be more of a hard cookie. No, not really. There's Oreo cookies. Maybe a ginger snap might be more of a biscuit than a cookie. That's really blurry. But the Americans take it another step. I was in Kentucky once and we decided you can't go to Kentucky without having Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we placed our order and the girl asked, "Y'all want biscuits with that?" Of course, when in Rome, yes, we will have biscuits. What they call biscuits would be, or at least looks like, a scone or a scone. By the way, we call those T-buns. And then there's crackers. You don't have them here. And it's a shame. We always have crackers with our soup. If you order soup in a restaurant, it always comes with a little packet of these. You scrunch them up and put them on your soup. You don't know what you're missing. The closest substitute I've found here is these. But crackers are always square. Those are just a few of the different things that have come up as of recent. Leave a comment, let us know what you think, and do all that YouTube stuff, like and subscribe. And if you want to try out some Canadian candy bars, check the description for a link. We were supposed to be doing a video at Jackson's Boat this week, but there were some scheduling issues. So keep an eye out for that one. We're doing a collab with Richard Ainsworth, so take a look at his channel too. Cheerio!